Previously on Ron's sailing, we made the top pieces and side panels for the combing, and got the ones for port side mounted. There's not much left to do before all the combing is in place. Just some measuring, trimming and applying of epoxy.
So yesterday I got the last piece of the combing in place, or the last piece before the cockpit. So now the starboard side is also glued in place. And first I thought that the best next step would be to do the radius up here and then do all the tabbing. But now I'm thinking it's better to continue with the cockpit, because this line that we have up here, it goes into the cockpit, and I'm thinking it's easier to check if that line is fair when it's sharp. So I think a better way is to continue with the side decks leading into the cockpit and the combing. And then once we have all those pieces in place, I will do the radius up here all along this edge. So time to start working in the stern of the boat, and back there we also have some news about the design, some design changes that we have made.
Finally, I'm taking on the project on painting the door, on kind of renovating the door and painting our windows. The door is first out, and I'm also using a special paint for the first time. This is linseed paint that I've never used before, and it smells so good. It smells of linseed and it's very nice to paint with. Since it is the base is linseed oil, it's so smooth and you don't need a lot of paint. This is the first layer, and we might need 2 or 3 layers. And well, the thing with linseed paint is that it takes quite a long time to dry, and now when it's humid during nights, it can take up to 2 or 3 days for one layer to dry. It is really a process to paint, but it will last for around 15 years without having to do anything. You can paint on any type of surface, and it's completely free of plastic and chemicals and stuff like that. And I love this color. It's called antique green. I'm gonna start with the hardest one. In here, furthest in the corner, on the top, towards the bill ceiling here. I'll start with that one, then I have the one following the hull, and all the way down to this bulkhead.
Do you think you will finish with all the corners today?
No. There are many left. There are I think more than 10 left.
So before we can continue with the side decks and the cockpit and everything that's going to be on top here, we need to get this bulkhead in place so that we have some structure underneath to build on top of. so that we can continue with the side decks and the coaming, and then the whole deck, the sole in the cockpit and everything else. We want to focus now on to finish the structure on the boat before, maybe not before winter, but as much as possible before winter. The difference won't be that big because the sole in the cockpit is around at this height between the seats. So we can still walk here. We just need to make the steps here a bit higher when we walk into the boat. And it will be more straightforward taking stuff into the boat, walking at one level all the way, so we don't have to climb through this space. So with that in mind, I don't think there will be any major drawbacks of completing the structure of the boat before we start with the interior. We've been getting quite many comments from viewers asking if it's not a mistake to close up the whole boat before we start with the interior. And yeah, it could be in some cases that it would be easier to have the boat open. But again, this boat, we're not building this boat in the same way as you would if you would build a series of boats, like if you have 10 or 15 boats to build. Because we build this boat a bit differently from when you're building more boats. This is a one-off. So we're going to build everything in place. It's different when you're building like 10 or 20 boats. Then it's much easier to build stuff outside the boat and then lift it inside the boat and mount it. But in this boat, everything will be more or less built in place. So there won't be those big, bulky things that we will lift into the boat. And having the structure fully built before we start with the interior will also safeguard that all the stuff that we bring into the boat, we can also later on bring out if it needs to be changed, like tanks, the engine, washer dryer, fridges, all of that stuff that you potentially in the future would need to change. You should be able to bring that out without tearing the boat apart. And of course, there will be some drawbacks of having the boat fully built before starting with the interior. Light, we need to get that inside of the boat so that we have good visibility when we're working. But the upsides is also that during winter time, it's much cheaper and easier to heat up the boat inside than to having to heat up the whole barn. And then we can work inside the boat during the winter and focus on the outside and the deck during summer. And like I said before, once we have all these big lamination jobs done, we're going to make a swap here to take all the lumber that we have out in the stable, bring that in here, and we're going to build a small wood shop out there in an area which is much smaller and easier to heat up during winter. So next step will be to start working on this bulkhead, and this is the last bulkhead that goes into the boat. So that's a bit of a milestone, I think.
This foggy morning, it really felt like summer was over. Johan prepared the bulkhead for installation. The last watertight bulkhead.
Yeah, the last bulkhead.
One week later, and I'm continuing with the project here, the little path with stones into the kitchen garden. I've laid out maybe 1/3 of the rocks. It looks like I have enough rocks. I don't know if I should call this rocks or stones. I think I've said both now. And Ulli, she sees me, that's why she is calling. She wants apples, I guess. So when I've laid out all the rocks, I will pour sand on everything so I fill the gaps around every stone. And I don't have the sand yet, so I have to fix that. Now I'm done with the path. It's like this. And I've picked up some smaller type of crushed stone that I will fill in the gaps.
Okay, I've been taking a lot of measurements now, and I think it's in the correct position now. Not only the measurements to the next bulkhead and to the stern, but also the height of it. Because later on I will add pieces here on the sides that has the profile of the coaming, but they will also go all the way up to just underneath the deck. And to be able to fit those without having to do any alterations to those cutting files, I needed to have the exact correct height on this as well, so that the line from the coaming can just continue up on top of this next piece. Yeah, so the next step now will be to glue this in place, and I have to say I think this looks fantastic to have a massive engine room like this. And also a big storage area back here, lazarette, I think it's called, or a rudder room, because this is where the shaft for the rudder will come into the boat, where the quadrant will sit. And that's one of the reasons why this bulkhead is watertight, because now we have separate compartments, one for the engine, one for the rudder, one for the living quarters, and one at the bow. And they are all separated from each other with these watertight bulkheads.
Our furry friends needed some fresh grass, so we extended their pasture. Hey! Now it's all the way out. Do you like all the new grass? Hey! Hey, cuckoos! Hey, cuckoos! Hey! Hey! The door is ready for the second layer of paint. So this is the almost finished result. I think I will lift a couple of stones because they're a bit too far down. But I'm happy with the result.
So before we started to build the boat, we were actually looking for a slightly larger barn that could accommodate a slightly larger boat between 54 to 56 feet. And today I'm quite happy that we didn't find that barn because building a 50-foot boat is well enough for building on your own with only two persons. So when we found this place, we quickly realized that the maximum length of the hull that we could accommodate in here was 50 feet. So that's what we decided on, and we started the design process together with Ulf, our naval architect. Now, a bit over 2.5 years into the build, the boat is flipped and it has moved forward from this wall into that small extension that we have built, so we could get some space back here. And a while back, when we were getting closer to the stern in the build, we started to think about the design back here in the stern, if there's anything that we wanted to change, before it's too late. And after some thinking, we thought that maybe we should try to make the swimming platform a bit bigger back here. This was the original design, and as you can see, the swimming platform is not very big. And that was because we had 50 feet to play with, and it's always compromises. And that was the amount of space that we could give to the swimming platform without sacrificing too much of the deck or the sole behind the wheels. So we asked Ulf about this. What can we do back here to make the swimming platform bigger, but not compromising too much on that deck level or the sole behind the wheels? And he came up with another solution, and that was to extend the hull now when we have the space back here. The design that Ulf came up with looked really good. This is the new design with the extension and the much larger swimming platform. It looked so good, so we said we just have to do this. We're going to extend the hull by 2 feet. So the new length of the boat overall will be 52 feet. The swimming platform back here will be quite massive. It will be 700 millimeters deep and 2.7 meters wide. And a really good thing is that it won't eat into the sole or the deck behind the wheels up there. So that area, which is flat and quite big, it's 3.3 square meters, will be even larger this way. And that's a feature that we really wanted to have on the boat. That's something that we have always missed on all the boats that we have had. A large flat area where you can stretch out, maybe do a workout or just hang out. And in addition, we also got a much better swimming platform, making it easier to come up with the dinghy, diving from the boat, and just a really great place to hang out back here close to the water. Of course, there will be some work with this, extending the hull. But the good thing is that the hull up at deck level will stay the same. It's only down here it will be longer. So we'll have a negative stern now. It used to be almost straight. And that will make it a bit easier. Another good thing with this new design is that I think that you will feel less exposed when you're standing behind the wheels, because there will be more boat behind you now. And that flat area behind the wheels, above the actual swimming platform, it will be 2.6 meters wide and 1.3 meters deep. In that deck or sole, there will be hatches from above so we can access the storage areas down here. And most probably we will also have a door here in from the swimming platform so we can access diving gear. We're thinking that we might have a compressor, a diving compressor in here. Yeah, here you can see it a bit more from above, how large that area will be behind the wheels. And I'm really excited for this because I think that this was the one thing that we're missing from the original design. This new swimming platform tied the whole thing together in a really good way. Now we have all the features on the outside of the boat that we wanted to have, and also inside. And yeah, we're really happy with the design. Well, that's it for this week. And as always, thanks a lot for watching, and a massive thank you to all of our patrons for supporting this project. It wouldn't have been possible without you guys. So we hope to see you all back here next Friday when we're continuing with the structure back here in the cockpit area. And until then, take care. Bye-bye.